Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of the Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Southwest Virginia Fishing Report with Matt Reilly. How you doing, Matt?
Doing great, Marvin. How are you?
As always, just trying to stay out of trouble, and as I always do, took a peek at your weather, and it's kind of not as bad as it has been, but it's kind of wet and kind of yucky in your neck of the woods for the next week to 10 days.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be as fun as it has been. You know, we had some real nasty weather right there before Christmas, and then it got back up into the 50s, 60s, you know, touching 70 some days. We've had some cooler days, but, you know, for the most part, it's been pretty, I would say, unseasonably warm, which just makes those days where you have like a high of 37, you know, kind of shocking and not very much fun because we're not used to it. But that's what we're looking at for the next, probably through the weekend. And then we're getting, you know, the 10-day forecast is showing more, you know, highs in the upper 40s and low 50s. A little bit more precipitation than we've had here recently, but the rivers are all running pretty, you know, pretty average, pretty healthy for the season. So we've got a little bit of wiggle room on flows. You know, I don't think we're going to be blown out anytime soon.
Well, that's good. And so, you know, how does that translate to what you're seeing on the muskie front?
So means our water temperatures have dropped a little bit in the last week or so. You know, with those warmer days, we were, you know, again, having fairly unseasonable water temperatures in the, you know, low to mid 40s in some places, which is great. You know, they're a fish that, you know, can still be pretty active in low to mid 30 degree water temperatures, but, you know, warmer temperatures than that, I'll always take because they're cold-blooded critters and they just move around and you know, process calories a little bit faster when they're a little bit warmer. So that's all been good, but we have had, you know, with the cold front, they kind of pushed through, I guess it was Friday. Thursday, we had like 60 degrees and, you know, dead calm for the most part. Friday, it was, you know, sustained 20 miles an hour with 40-mile-an-hour gusts and a high of 40, which unfortunately, we put 3 muskies in the boat that day, which just means that you don't have an excuse to not fish a day like that. But you know, things are starting to drop. We had several nights down in the 20s, and so we're starting to see, you know, 37, 38, 39 degree water temperatures, which again, it's shocking to the fish too. You know, they're going to be a little bit slower on average there for a couple of days as they get used to that. But, you know, like I said, they can still be fairly active in pretty dang cold water. So it's not doesn't mean they're going to sleep for good. We're still going to be catching some fish for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, there you go. And I got a question for you from Grant, and he wanted to get your thoughts on, you know, strip cadence and kind of how it changes from kind of, you know, at some point between now and probably the end of February, we're going to get 2 or 3 really cold weeks, probably kind of from there into the kind of the pre-spawn.
Yeah. So, you know, the big thing there is just going to be water temperature, obviously. You know, usually in January, we see our coldest water temps leading into the, you know, sometimes early February, it's staying in the low to mid 30s. But February is usually the month where things start to change pretty quickly. You know, we start to get you know, some more of those 60, 70 degree days sometimes towards the end of the month. And the water temperature can change, you know, 10, 15 degrees over the course of that month. So kind of, you know, almost goes without saying there, the warmer the water, kind of on average, the faster you can move a fly. Now, when I tell people, you know, when we're fishing or you know, instructing or whatever, you know, speed up your fly. That doesn't necessarily mean you always still need to incorporate some kills and some pauses in there, because that's what, you know, that's what a muskie is looking for as far as an opportunity to eat. They're always looking for a broadside shot. So, if you're on average speeding up your stripping cadence, you still need to work in some, 1, 2, maybe 3 second pauses in there from time to time. But, I should say too, just because, again, theoretically fish are, more apt to chase as the water gets a little bit warmer from being kind of basement cold, doesn't necessarily mean that a fish can't move real quick in 33, 34 degree water either. Those fish are long, skinny ambush predators that can cover a long distance with fairly minimal effort pretty quickly. And particularly, I think in clearer water, they tend to feel the need to close a distance pretty quickly because without a little bit of stain and a little bit of cover, they've just got to strike a little bit more deliberately. So, I've got plenty of muskies in 33, 34 degree water with like a 2-hand burn. But at the same time, usually the way I start fishing when it's that cold is, slow cadence, big strip, couple second pause, couple big strips, 3-4 second pause, that kind of thing. And the benefit, that kind of retrieve is never a bad idea muskie fishing because, again, they're generally a little bit easier to feed when they don't know you're there. And so if you can get them to eat away from the boat, it's always a good thing. And again, those pauses and broadside shots are what they're looking for to eat. So the more of that you can give them away from the boat, the better. So, sounds like a fairly simple answer, but in general, I would just say, as the water warms up, you can certainly afford to speed things up a little bit, but just, don't forget to incorporate those kills and give them an opportunity to eat.
Yeah, got it. And do you like, in colder water, will you select a fly that will maybe hover a little bit more on the pause?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, just like anything else, if you're fishing real slow, and whenever you're fishing has a lot of weight to it, you're going to be on the bottom constantly. And one of the benefits of a fly, and I mean, it's the reason why a lot of conventional gear guys are starting to pick up fly rods in the dead of winter, is that you can fish a fly super slow, without getting it snagged on the bottom and without it just coming to rest totally lifeless on the bottom. And flies have that, bucktail and feathers have that ability to be just hanging in the water column, unmanipulated by a human with a fly line, and still be moving really subtly. So yeah, absolutely. Buoyant flies are definitely a go-to that time of year.
Got it. And folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email them to us. You can DM us on social media. And if we use your question, I will send you some articulate fly swag. We're in a drawing for something cool from Matt at the end of the season. And speaking of that, like we said last time, we're going to draw from all the people that got their questions answered in 2022. And before I give you the name, Matt, you want to let folks know what the winner's going to get?
Yeah, we're going to be giving away just a little kind of sample fly box of some of my kind of go-to smallmouth bugs. Not necessarily topwater bugs, just flies. And some stickers and discount codes and stuff for the rod company and the guide service as well.
Very, very cool. And I took all the names and put them in the Google random number generator, and the winner is Will Travis. And so, Will, congratulations. And I'm going to pass your information along to Matt, and he'll reach out and he'll hook you up.
Sweet. I think I have it already.
Yeah, I think you probably do. He's a frequent question asker. And before I let you go, I know you've got even fewer days than you had the last time we spoke because you've been to the Virginia Fly Fishing and Wine Festival. You want to let folks know kind of what you have open on your guide calendar, how to reach out to you and all that kind of good stuff?
Sure. Yeah. We Still probably have a few, very, very few musky dates left, before kind of the middle of March. But then we're looking at pre-spawn smallmouth, which I still have like 2 or 3 days for. Handful of days in the remainder of the spring. And then very, very few, like maybe a dozen total for the summer. So they're going quick. Not a whole lot left. And if you want in, just let me know.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. And folks, you owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Matt.
Thanks, Marvin.